You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of whimpered of Knuckle Up! Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and germs, ladies and gentlemen, singular. This is the Omega. Knuckle Up. Knuckle Up is dead. Long live Knuckle Up. You are witnessing forthwith the rebirth of not so much cool, of a newly branded era. The Eugene S. Robinson Show Stomper, emerging from the ashes of Knuckle Up, crashed and burned, much like Tinkerbell, due to public apathy and the crookedness of fighters only. But first, and this, what is the word I want? Not salutatorian, not valedictorian effort. The famous words of Bob Riley, Stigmata, Calling of the Just, intro, All of Nothing. I'm on my way back to nowhere. Could not see so clear, but I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. Or being paid back in full, always nothing. All right, my friends. First of all, let's not forget. Let me not make the error of past days. Let's see if I can do this. I don't think I can. I think I can't. I don't think I can do the hat and the thing and the thing. How about, does that work? Do I look like a pilgrim or does it look like the Monopoly man? I'm going for either or on this New Year's Eve, last night of 2017. Let's pull it out. Let's put it in. Let's see if it works. All right. Can you hear me? Captain Freak Out. It's Captain Freak Out, man. Okay, let me see if I can get the... there we go. That seems to work. And I'm guessing now you can hear me better. No need to tell me yes, because I think I can hear it. Anyway, here we are, and we're back again. This is Knuckle Up number 251. Number 251, but just for clarification's sake, this is the 500th show, probably 500th plus show that I've done. I've done partial shows from Copenhagen, Paris, where the Wi-Fi went out. I said, look, it's not fair to call that a show. Let's just call that a 0.5 show. I've done all manner of shows. I've done shows from Lyon. I've done shows from Paris. I've done shows from Copenhagen. I've done shows from the car. I've done shows from the van. I've done shows on location. I've done shows from Sorrell's Academy. Over 500 freaking shows. Do you know how far this goes back? It goes back approximately to 2007 when this book came out. Fighter, everything you ever want to know about asking, but afraid to get asked for asking. That's what happened. That's what happened. The book came out. Scott Kelly from Neurosis said, hey, man, I'm starting combatmusicradio.com. Would you be a guest on the show? I was a guest on his show several times. He said, hey, I'm going to start a whole network. All you got to do is send me a picture of you with some guns, and you'll have your own show. What do you want to call it? And I said, I think I want to call it Knuckle Up. Partly inspired by some sci-fi movie. I can't remember where these people were stepping in these exoskeletons. Maybe it was The Matrix,
and then also partially inspired by a RZA song, and also inspired by just the old thing, Knuckle Up. I've had guests on the show. I've had also known as friends of Knuckle Up. We have developed an entire vocabulary from gick to gicta, to greedy bread gobblers, to work shy individuals, to malingerers, to Event Horizon, to Phantom Tollbooth, to the Lost Battalion, to Misty Woodpiles, on and on and on. You think this is the death? I know some of you were watching this show to see if I was going to set myself on fire. If you watched 2 shows ago, 253 or 252, you would know that that's not the plan. Due to forces that I've only darkly hinted at, I've had to make alterations. Alterations that have indeed might actually allow me to play the percentages and not lose my daily employ. Ow! Do you want to bet? Double or nothing. On the poster also falling. The hat goes, the poster goes. Line up, place your bets. Now I look like Hasidim. Except I need a wider brim. You know, this is ridiculous. This is not working. It's not working. It's not going to stay. I can't concentrate on that. So now you get the hair. So, in brief, I think I could just say that what was going on was that Vox emerged as a pretty major competitor to my major employee, Ozzy. So, came under a lot of pressure. Had to make some changes. However, I dig doing the show. And the fact that Fighters Only magazine hasn't seen its way clear to make me MMA Journalist of the Year is fine. Anytime I see some fighter who has got 8-0, 10-0, 15-0, something smells rotten to me, and I feel kind of like Columbo. Any award that you give 6 or 7 times to the same guy, there's something wrong there. Either your talent pool is not deep enough, or there's a fix. Now, I understand I might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I have to say that those of you who have listened from show number 500, like the Black Flag song says, from the end, from the beginning, from the start, what the hell is the line? From the start, I see the end. I'm not right. You're not right. That's how the song goes. Got it, finally. I knew I had planned obsolescence for this show. Then I decided to tie it into the MMA Journalist or Commentator of the Year award, which are totally not credible in my mind. Then I decided to up Gigi Allen and add on the flaming end. I actually had some lighter fluid, and I was like, oh, I could take some burns. All you got to do is coat your skin with a little Vaseline, a little burn. What is that for sake? I've done worse for theater. I saw Gibby from the Butthole Surfer set himself aflame. Why can't I? Yeah, well, you know, black skin heals differently. I don't need keloids. Scar tissue on scar tissue. Plus, I got all this expensive tattoo work. That's out. Plus, also, shit like that ends up going viral when the guy stumbles into the patio, catch the patio on fire, the house burns down, and then Eugene S. Robinson becomes a fucking punchline. Nah, at one point, somebody said to me, you got to face it. If it was going to happen, it would have happened. But something else emerged in the meantime. A self-selected community of use New York style, YOUSE. A self-selected community of views have stuck from 500 to now. So what we did is we started 500 on Combat Music Radio. We back-ended it. The show came to, I got, no. I started at 1, sorry, and got to 250, and then the show ended. All of a sudden, really strange stuff. The Combat Music, the server just went down. Nobody had time to fix it. So it was like, fine, we're done. There's not enough people listening anyway, so we're finished. And so Kid Nate calls me. I started on Bloody Elbow, and I go, I don't want to start at 251 because it seems like a continuation. We'll start at 500. And the clock was ticking. So I'm getting in crazy, crazy pressure. Crazy pressure. I mean, the kind of pressure that Fred Flintstone can only dream about are Spacely Sprockets, where the boss is throwing shit and screaming at you and the whole bit. And my impassioned defense was, how can a show that I do pantsless in the weekends from my house How can that be a threat to anybody or the wheel of my car? And more importantly, can I do that here? And talk about gangbangs and the Third Reich and how the Nazi menace infiltrates every part of our daily doings. Do you want to co-sign that? No. So this is just muscle. And like the guy, like Ian McShane said in Deadwood, Yankton is muscle, and I don't like muscle. Hence, the Eugene S. Robinson Show Stomper. Does it make any sense? No. Why do you call it the Show Stomper? Stomping in my big black boots. You know what? There is not another show. All of a sudden, the scales have dropped from my eyes. MMA is life. Life is MMA. UFC is not MMA. UFC is a subset of MMA. In other words, the direction the show has been going, over 500 shows, perfectly. Look, let me explain something to you in brief. I'm sorry it takes so long with this intro. When I went to college, I got my degree in journalism. At Stanford, they call it communications. As I got my degree, I was interviewing at jobs for insurance companies. Why? I didn't know. I had never made the connection between actually having this degree in journalism and communications, because Stanford doesn't want to teach a trade, you see, something you could actually make money at. And the job I was supposed to have. So I was going to insurance companies and business companies and just big names, Seba Geigy. Why not? What the hell? I could do something. Never made the connection. Like Travis Bickle says, in my mind, there was no other way. And I start to think about the flame and the pressure and the dark machinations of people trying to force me and muscle me into doing their bidding for no other reason than that they want me to accede that my worldview is faulty versus their worldview, and suddenly I see the future. And in that future, you got guys, you know what? ESPN is having trouble. Why? Because their offering is micro. You know who's doing well? Joe Rogan. Why? Because his offering is macro. You know what this show has always been? Macro. It's never been micro. The keyhole, the spear point, whatever you want to call it for a small entry, has always been what happens in the UFC or Bellator or Ryzen or Invicta or Strikeforce or whoever it was that we were talking about at the time. But if you haven't figured it out, these are life lessons for life. So the Eugene S. Robinson Show Stomper will continue anon. Same time, Sundays, because that's the only time I can actually manage to make stuff work, which means, yeah, I'm sorry, I backed off for Tango a little bit. I may have technical difficulties, as you well know, prone technical difficulties. However, it'll be on Patreon. Specifically, I can tell you right now, there's no mystery. The cool part about this is about Patreon, and I know there's been some bad press for Patreon. I don't give a shit about that. The cool thing about the Patreon thing is it lets me give rewards for your patronage. And these are things that some of you have been made privy to, but not all. Specifically, some of you, for example, have my phone number, right? Right. So, and part of that has allowed some of you who have actually managed to save the number. You know, you text me, I text back. But I want that built into it. I want it built into the reward thing. I generally hate talking on the phone, but I hate talking on the phone to people who like need something from me. So one thing about listeners to the Show Stomper, I know you probably don't need anything to me. You just want to talk. That'll be one of my later rewards, as well as Stigmata CDs. You've heard the song and the intro. The intro will remain the same. Why not? I like Screaming Knuckle Up, even though the show is different. I might segue into Stomping in My Big Black Boots. You know that song, hip hop song. Anyway, patreon.com, patreon.com/The Stomper. TheStomper, The Stomper. So I could periodically roll out shit that like I go into the Oxbow garage, need to I got, oh, look what I got, the double CD or the fight book or Oxbow pre-release demo. If you're an Oxbow fan, Oxbow listener, I can establish a two-way that I couldn't really do on Bloody Elbow. And moreover, I'm still on Bloody Elbow, but as a guest. I'm a guest on If the Shoes Fit, and I'm a guest on If I Did It. Sorry. And I'm a guest on Care Don't Care Preview. So I'm on Bloody Elbow 3 times a week as a guest. You got it. And on Sundays, the Eugene S. Robinson Show Stomper, patreon.com/The Stomper. So that's it. All 44 of you who listen this far right away, you know, you can let other people know if you want in the comments later. I don't care. It's up to you. So now specifically on to UFC 219. I didn't have a bad night. You don't know what my picks are because I didn't do Care Don't Care because I was in New York. I don't know why I couldn't have done it from New York, but Nate had some time restrictions and we couldn't do it. I'm not in New York now. I never tell people where I'm going before I go because I don't want you guys to rob me. I tell you where I've gone. So now I'm back protecting the fortress unvanquishable. So first of all, let's deal with the pain of the mist. Okay? Cristiana Justino, Chris Cyborg, has to deal in the glow of her win over Holly Holmes, has to deal with a flare shot up in the air by somebody from Jackson Wink, calling her a man. Calling her a man. Wow. Man, you know what? That may have been funny around the time of her first steroid bust. Like at some point, you know, people laughed at the knock joke thing. You know what? Context is everything. And the context of Holly Holm getting beaten from pillar to post makes it not fucking funny, man. It makes it misty, woodpiley as fuck. Because for those of you who don't remember, a couple of weeks ago, we put Jackson Wink in the Lost Battalion. Yeah, we did. You know, because all that mumbo jumbo shit, bring your breathing down. Breathe it down, down, bring it down. Bring it down. It's not enough to win a fight, man. Not enough. And your inability, you know what? Say what you want about the winningest fight team in fight history, AKA. But I've been there. I've been there. I've been there when Javier Mendez was in the midst of a palace insurrection. Now, if it was me, if you had come to an Oxbow practice and one of the members of Oxbow had started flipping out the way Josh Koscheck started flipping out the day it was known to Javier that a journalist was there, I would have tried to be a little bit more political. Instead, Javier stood up after Koscheck flipped out and said, "I don't give a fuck. It's my team. You don't like it, you can take it on the." I mean, I'm paraphrasing. You could take it on the arches. Koscheck was screaming about, "Where's my jiu-jitsu coach? Things haven't been the same as Dave Camarillo. I don't know." He was discontented. And I asked Javier Mendez about it later. He's like, "Yeah, it's like the toughest babysitting job ever, man." You know? So the whole Buddhist laissez-faire Jackson Wink thing of, you know, I train adults and the adults are free to make their own decisions. Never ever would Johnny Boney Joni been allowed to. I know guys whose names I won't mention. Anthony Rumble Johnson. I know guys who've been kicked off of teams for Anthony Rumble Johnson got some domestic. There was a domestic abuse call. Cops show up for Anthony, a guy whose name I won't mention, Anthony Rumble Johnson. And the first thing out of Anthony Rumble Johnson, the guy that's not won't mention his name. The first thing out of his mouth is, "Hey, I'm one of Kung Lee's guys." Well, unbeknownst to him, one of the cops on the scene also happened to be Kung Lee's guy. He gets on the phone and says, "Hey, Kung, yo, dude, your name's coming out of his mouth and he's bouncing this woman's head off the wall." That was it. That was it. Why did his tenure on Kung Lee's team last such a short period of time? That's that. I remember the girl at the time. I don't know if it's the same one he ended up being with for good. All the signs were there. He was off the team. Johnny Boney Joni has been allowed to do what he's been allowed to do because there was a calculation made by Jackson Wink that maybe we can ride this thing through. And you can't. And now your win-loss record is in the toilet, and all that breathing and calming and breathing and all that stuff, that kind of psycho fight mumbo jumbo. That's great. People have taken what they've needed from it and left. But what do you got now? Nothing. You should have opened up a franchise in Los Angeles, convinced dude to go to Los Angeles because the career opportunities were greater, especially now with Endeavor owning it. Get him an agent, move him out of New Mexico. And I'm not saying that LA is a better place where temptation will not rear its ugly head, but that's not the issue. Temptation will rear its ugly head in Los Angeles, but Los Angeles is adept at dealing with temptation. Oh, we didn't know. We didn't know that Harvey Weinstein was raping people. Really? Send your sister over there. Oh, no, we're not going to do that. Oh, you're not going to send your sister over? No, we're going to do that. Okay. All right. So you did know. Well, I didn't really know. I'm Matt Damon. I didn't know. What did I know? I heard rumors. Rumors. Huh? You've had probably a reprobate friend, I'm sure, right? Some people have perceived me to be this reprobate friend. This guy had a sword catalog because I'm into swords. And he was like, "Oh, Eugene, you can borrow the catalog." And he didn't need to say it, but he said, "You'll notice on the order page, I ripped out the part with my address. Now, it's not because I don't trust you, Eugene. It's because you run with a rough crowd." I was very disappointed in him because he just ripped out the back page. Of course, on the inside, he had his address and he had neglected to rip out the center page. Why tell me that? I wouldn't have noticed. Yeah, people are shooting stuff off already. I wouldn't have noticed. So Jackson Wink is taking shots at Cyborg, like it's going to do something, like it's going to return the mojo to you. It will not return. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I should have. Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. I'm getting text. Those of you who have the numbers, texted me about John Jones in LA. The temptations are different, but the machinery works there for your betterment. If you were rolling with Stanley Tucci, you're probably not going to get in trouble. Hanging out with dirtbags from the mini mart in Albuquerque, different story entirely. You got to manage your business. It's a 360-degree endeavor. You know what the monthly nut is on AKA in San Jose? Rumor has it that's 50 grand. 50 grand. That's what the rent cost. You got to write a 50 grand check a month. That means you guys got to fight. You guys got to win. You got to coach the kids' class. Got to have the kids coming through the door. You got to have teams going. You got to be making money 360-degree different ways. Albuquerque? Lots of luck. Stop fucking taking the dude blast at the chick who just won. She's a biological female. Fucking deal with it. And it doesn't change the fact that your fighter lost. I mean, the thing is, what we've been seeing is little deck chair maneuvering. Like the fight that she had, the one right before it with the one who looked like, she said she looked like a female Roy Nelson, Evinger, right? And she looked, it didn't look that. It was all about dogging it in the same way that Holmes' first few fights in the UFC were completely unremarkable. All about dogging it. Don't want to open the door. Don't want to open the door to see how much stuff is in the closet. Don't want people to see. Hey, you got a lot of nice stuff in here. No. But this is the moment. Do you realize that this moment was years in the making? If you're not doing MMA math on this, you have failed MMA math. Because what this is about Ronda, the double R. For those of us who want some sort of satisfaction in that regard, this is as close as we're going to come to being satisfied, right? Specifically, what if Ronda had fought Chris Cyborg, it would have been as depressing of an outcome for Ronda fans as a Gina Carano Cyborg match. Do you understand how that had to work? Do you understand how that had to work? It had to be Holly. Holly's English is serviceable, has kind of an all-American thing going, right? Is of a certain age, doesn't have the thuggish appeal, and more importantly, her performance was game. You didn't feel like you were watching a child being beaten. The saddest thing ever in my mind, and this is a credit to how Ronda had been able to stage match, is that last punch in the face that Ronda got from Holly Holm, where it's clear that she's already out. She's stretched on the canvas. The ref can't get there in time, and she's Holmes jumps up and kind of gives her a hammer fist to the face, and it's just kind of this. That's it. That was a shaker forever. So that's the memory that we carry. Whatever baton she had, passed it to the hand of Holly Holm. She is a non-factor now. Producing, which it seems like she's doing right now, good move. You see, I spent my whole editorial career trying to get in a position. You understand that people who are presidents now and publishers, that they think about publishing in a very different way. I'm still thinking about it in terms of an editor, right? So I'm like moving the pawns around. I'm kind of moving the castles and the rooks and the bishops, kind of trying to move them for an overall game plan that I think when you look at the board or the publication, you go, I look at old publications I've done. I go, oh man, can't you see it working? This overweening intelligence. This is good. I look at the past 500 shows of Knuckle Up and I start to think, man, you see somehow these are tone poems, man. These are ragas. I start out one place. I go 360 degrees. I go other places and then I land it. You know what kind of ballet this is? You know what kind of monologuist ballet this is? This is Eric Bogosian, man. Who's that cat who jumped in the river? Not Quentin. Not Quentin Crisp. The other guy, the New York guy, whose name I can't remember now. Magic. But the real magic are the people who sit and say, I got 10 publications. Those publications are in the plus column, 4 of them in the plus column, 6 are in the minus column. If I cut 3 of the 6, I can take the investment and reinvest in the remaining 3, and that way I can convert 2 of those, so I have 6 winning publications by the end of 2018. I think I'll do that. That's tri-level chess. They're dealing with multiple pieces on multiple boards. They're not giving a shit about articles. That's where I've tried to get in my career. But fundamentally, you have to have a business head for that and be more interested in that. And I've always been more interested in the creative side. There's a certain creativity to that, but not the same kind of creativity I want. That's not the point. The point is, Holmes carried into it the memory, the stock, lock, and barrel of the memory of everything that was representative of Ronda Rousey's, the double R's rise to the top. And moreover, we all suspected she would lose. She was not my pick. Holm was not my pick. I mean, if I was a betting man, and I'm not because I'm broke, I would have bet a little bit on her just to hedge a bet. But you did not feel as bad seeing her get beaten by Cyborg as you would have seen Ronda, America's sweetheart, getting beaten by Cyborg. Except this is a deal with the devil. And I'm not the first to say it, and I won't be the last to say it. But tell me where the road turns now. She can stop talking all that talk about she's going to go into boxing, because that's not going to happen. That's not, no. Women's boxing, there's not nearly enough money to waste your time doing that. She's now talking about Megan Anderson and then Amanda Nunes, already pissing on the possibility of Amanda Nunes by saying, well, I don't really like to fight other Brazilians, saying what we all know. We've seen Brazilians fight Brazilians, unless it's a team that's got some beef with each other. You know, Eugenio Tadao, the head of Luta Livre in Brazil, at some point chased a very famous jiu-jitsu guy down the beach at Copacabana into the water and ran along the water line with his pistol, shooting into the water as the guy swam further out and down the beach with the tide, hoping to get away, and he did fundamentally get away. So unless you've got that intense Brazilian in-country beef, you can tell the fighters don't like to fight each other. It's like fighting somebody that you train with. I've always been very passive with guys I train. I've even been beaten by guys I train with because they're like coming out all guns blazing. Yo, bro, train together. Take it easy. You win, I win. Who cares? I fought like demons. So, okay, I got it. I'll turn it up a bit. So if you say Megan Anderson, they've got a lot of work. They got a lot of work for you to care about Megan Anderson. The numbers on this one, I don't think I've seen the numbers on this one. If anybody's seen the numbers on this one, let me know. I don't think I've seen them yet. I just trained and went running. I haven't had a chance to look. And Amanda Nunes, yeah, okay. All right. What's the point of that? So this brings us to, I mean, I guess we could go, people are like, well, look at in the desperation to seek out bright spots. They're like, well, what about Khabib? Well, Khabib. Well, Khabib. Did any of you actually think that Edson Barbosa was going to beat Khabib? I didn't. This was a welcome back howdy do to Khabib, whose most ardent opponent, most aggressive and successful opponent has actually been the fact that he trains as a small guy who trains at AKA and is dealing with injuries. Not a Gicta, but sort of close to being a Gict. Not because of his performance in the cage, as in an unusual turn, but very specifically because of his performance outside the cage. Outside the cage. So he got Barbosa, dragged him into, and then it was just like, but you know what? Dream Crusher said it best. He goes, yeah, I liked watching that fight, but you know what? I'm a grappler. It was exciting for grapplers. It's not a growth delta. It's not gonna move the needle for people who are the casuals, nor will it move the needle for casual cash. Without casual cash, and he's like, well, okay, he's gonna fight McNuggets. Oh, really? Well, he said it best in the press conference afterward. He goes, well, when the money runs out, I guess I'll be here. You hope? You know what? Do you realize that if he does nothing, if he does absolutely nothing but put that 100 million in there and mutual, oh, he didn't actually make 100 million. He's got a big time. Okay, all right. He took 50 and he puts 20 mil and gives 20 mil to his broker at Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab. That the return on that is enough for most people to live pretty comfortably. I mean, I take it that he's like me, like many of us. My hands, I can finally make a fist. Yeah, just ghee. I don't know if you're a fighter. I don't know how swank you're living, but in general, I'm living pretty much like I did in college. I mean, I have managed to get rid of milk crate bookcases. I've gotten rid of those. Got actual bookcases. All right. And there's been some effort afoot to put that stuff on Kindles and so forth. I won't do that. I still like to have my reference library around. Worst comes to worst, Nazis come back, I'll have something to burn. So Khabib is where? Hoping for what? Do you understand how incredibly dire 2018 is? And now more and more fighters are realizing it's like that time I had that job and the guy said, the CEO, this is a major multinational, said, had a company-wide meeting, so we need people to take vacations. On our balance sheet, your vacations represent cash that we have to pay you. It's dragging us down. Take vacations or I might have to have layoffs. So right away, I think if we not enough people take vacations and we have layoffs, I need to get paid for those vacations because I need as much cash to forward me over to the next job as possible. So while other people said, okay, well, I'm going to try to help by taking my vacation now. And they did. And you know what happened? They had the layoffs anyway. I was glad to get my 2 weeks of vacation in cash. Thank you very much. Look forward to the next job. You know, so the UFC can spin whatever kind of tail it wants for its fighters who are on the sick out, but it doesn't make any difference. The game is stalled. It is stalled. And if it's not, why? Oh, look what somebody just sent me. How interesting. How interesting. Reported by somebody else. Reported by somebody else. Let me read it to you. Let's just get this thing here. Okay. I'm going to read something. He goes, the marketable fighters they have don't want to promote, and the ones they do want to promote, they don't want to pay. They've killed the talent pipeline 170 up, and the fact that Colby Crappington counts as an up-and-comer says all you need to know. But that's not what I'm talking about. That was yeah, that's right. Thank you, man. Fuck those guys who want to see you set yourself aflame. Okay, here we go. Where is it? I'm sorry. This is worth waiting for. Well, yeah. Khabib's decision to move to 145 pounds is going to my man Davey. That is high value Russian mist. I can't find it. Sorry. Oh, I know what it was. It came in from my Italian fascist friends outside of Milan. I'm not kidding you. These are the ones who sent me the Mussolini sticker that's on my computer, and it was about Johnny Boney Joni. So there's a rumor afoot that he's about to be acquitted in total. Like they said to Mel Gibson and Mad Max, you guys want to get out of here? You go through me. Why would you do it? These are unforced errors of a major magnitude. Listen, I've seen that. You know what was amazing? I interviewed some biz school guy for some article at one point, and he said, "You want to know what's amazing? You take 100 of the top companies from 100 years ago. How many of them do you think is still left? 100 top world beaters. How many? It was like fewer than 10. 100 years later." I've seen them come. I've seen them go. Brobeck, Flager, and Harrison, one of the biggest law firms in the world. You know what happened? One of the main money makers, rainmakers there, he asked for more money. He wanted to be made a partner. They were like, no, sorry. He's left, started his own company. And it all came tumbling down. No more Brobeck, Flager, and Harrison. Nobody's talking about them. All came crumbling down. Sun Microsystems crumbled down. Ask Sandra Kurtzig. These are things that unless you were walking around Silicon Graphics, gone. It's not out of the question. The UFC is not the NFL. And even the NFL had a soft fucking patch this year. Oh, you want to blame the kneeling Negroes? Wrong. Everybody PR mismanaged that to the extreme. Look, I don't know what your feelings are about the flag. That's not important. As a New Yorker and an American, my attitude has always been, ever since I was a kid, you're going to make me? Who says? And lastly, lastly, and most succinctly, you and what army? I do what I want. That, in my mind, is the American ethos. I'm free to be you and me. I do what I want. That's how you sell it. Hey, you want to kneel? You want to come out in the field with no pants on? You want to wear a clown nose and big floppy red shoes? Do it. You know, they have this thing called Entarte in the Nazi Germany. They call degenerate art. And a few years ago in Nuremberg, they had all the art that they had deemed was degenerate art, the Nazis had deemed was a degenerate art. They had a display of it from Picasso stuff and so on. This did not accord with what Hitler believed were the Platonic ideals of truth, beauty, and goodness, or whatever the third part of the Platonic triad is. Just paintings, man. Just paintings. Okay. So I mean, the UFC is playing this game of chicken, but suddenly, you know what? You're in a ravine. You're making car noises behind the wheel of a vehicle that's aflame. But you're at the bottom of a ravine. I hate to tell you. I hate to tell you, you know, Mr. Nero, I hate to tell you, but the NFL, number one sport in America is bobbling, and they're having trouble this year. The film industry, you think, oh, the blockbusters, The Last Jedi, the blockbusters, film industry in 2017, still down 2%. I'm not being a nattering nabob of negativity. I'm also saying Ozymandias style, even the mighty must fall. The P.B. Shelley poem. Even the mighty must fall. Remember, if you were smart, you would make aggressive reconstructive efforts. And I do not blame for a second Ari Emanuel at Endeavor for being slightly distracted, because if you think that the Harvey Weinstein list is complete, you're wrong. They are torn right now between doing active and proactive damage control and hoping that the whole thing just switches. Like maybe if Trump attacks North Korea, then we'll just forget about the forced blowjobs and anybody in my mind who is preaching, well, maybe hey, one of the women I work with was in Uber. Some guy slides into Uber and puts his hand around her shoulder. She goes, hey, take your hand from around my shoulder. He goes, oh, sorry. I go, was the guy on the phone? She goes, nope. Was it crowded? Was there somebody else in the back? Nope. Did you know him? Nope. I go, what was his face looking like when he did it? She goes, he was smirking. That's great. She gets out at her stop. I get in the next stop and I put my arm around that guy. You think he's going to be comfortable? You think so? I've maintained for a long time with Tyson that, yes, that she died, whatever Washington, whatever girl's name is, that she went up there to have sex with him. Easy enough, happens all the time. But the sex that she went up there for was not the sex that she got. I've been doing music for a long time, since 1980. And on occasion, women have picked me up. And I could comfortably say, after seeing our show, that the women who picked me up were brave souls who feel pretty comfortable that that they are open into having, anything goes. But they also were maybe perceptive enough to figure out that anything goes probably would occur within parameters that they could comfortably handle. Like Eugene was probably not gonna poop in a sock and hit him in the face with the sock, right? Which I did not. Tyson was a whole nother level. What can I say? He's still angry about it because it's like she came up to have sex, we had sex. Not realizing, a friend of mine had sex with a male porn star, and she goes, it was intense. That was just Tuesday for him. It was intense for her. It was just Tuesday for him because his worldview was different. I'm sorry I got a little far afield in the porn arena, but my point is this very specifically. That the UFC is not in a position to fuck around anymore. And Ari is not going to help you because he's got bigger fish to fry. If you don't think the litigation stream is going to stop, no, no. Because if you're my agent and you send me on an audition and I get fucked with, that's on you. Especially if I tell you. They kept you on, bald one. They kept you on so you could take care of things. Now, unless part of the plan is to run it into arrears so that the Fertittas could take it back, not having essentially got a $3-4 billion bridge loan, not returning any of the money and re-owning it and rebuilding it. That's fine, but it doesn't change the fact that, like, when people discussing education in America, oh, the education, they're fucking around, and we should do this, we should do that. We're charter schools, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. How we're gonna we got pre-K programs, we're gonna do this. We're gonna every year, man. You got kids who come into school excited to learn, leave school hating it. The hell is that noise? There's something afoot here. So, the future janitors of America. You can't keep fucking these guys. These guys are looking at their time. They're looking at the fact that Mark Coleman's having a hard time. They're looking at the fact that they're not all like Rich Franklin going to get TV shows. They're looking at the fact that Max Holloway gets a role in this new movie with 50 Cent and the other dude and Ice Cube's kid. Good for Max Holloway. He'll get real money. Why do you think Justin Timberlake is doing movies? So he can get real money. There's no money in music anymore. Nobody's getting paid for that. I know. Some people are proclaiming Oxbow's Thin Black Duke is one of the top records in the year. You know how much money I've made off of it? Goose Egg. You know how much money I spent on it? 55 grand. And when I say I really mean the rest of the band. It sounds like the dishwasher's on. Anyway, I have to say that there is no benefit to this. There is none. Why? Why will you not listen to us? Fix it. Fix it. Simple fix. If you gave everybody 10 grand more, do you know how happy that would make people? And I understand you're thinking about it like tri-level chess. I got this board, I got this board, this board. I can't give a fuck about these pawns and these bishops. That's fine. But Johnny Boney Joni just wasn't hatched. Came from someplace. Oh, looking for a fight. I'm discovering new talent out there. New talent what? What? And you got McNuggets, who effectively has screwed your pooch. Bring that guy in. Make him a shareholder. Get to fucking work and fix this sport. We're fans. We cannot fix it for you. We cannot. Ich kann nicht. I cannot. So anyway, let's get to the rest of the card, and Khabib, great, he won. It's not going to help us. I asked people. I took a tally. I went to jiu-jitsu this morning, took a tally. What'd you guys think of the fight? Universally, everybody said, eh. Fundamentally, this was not a fight for the casuals. Cyborg and Holm goes 5 rounds to a decision. Khabib and Edson goes 5 rounds to a decision. And people are still not, his grappling, grinding style. Okay, so DeCasey, god damn, bro. I think we're Event Horizon right there. Horrible place to be. Rear naked choked by Dan Hooker. Who? Dan Hooker. Yeah, exactly. People felt that Carvillo got ripped off. That's okay. But it was still a decision. We're on the pay-per-view card. These are decisions, decisions, decisions. Anything that you have to ask yourself, Magny versus Condit. Now, Condit for sure is fucking. Has he said anything? He hasn't said anything yet that puts him in the Lost Battalion, but I'm just waiting. I hear the Lost Battalion alarm going off, and I'm just waiting. And Magny, of course, as a gift non-pariah. I never would have picked him. I begrudgingly picked Condit, even with the ring rust, because Magny has so disappointed me spectacularly in the past. And what happens? He fucks me again by winning, putting Condit in at least the event horizon, Dark Star possibly, until he opens his mouth and says something sketch like, you know, when I challenge for the belt, that's not happening, bro. And this is a lesson not for other fighters, but this is a lesson for the bald one. You're going to keep fucking around with the Diaz's and you bring them back, you're talking about one payday. Because unless you got a clock that runs backwards, these guys not becoming better fighters. Do you want several paydays or one payday? Man, the short-sightedness of it all is shocking. How reckless can you get? How reckless can you get? You know, there's got to be a play because these people, I have to think that these are either, is a Peter principle. They've either risen to the level of their greatest incompetence, but I have to say that these are not stupid people. You know, and the Polish guy, I wish the wife was here. Let me see if I can pronounce his name, Olechechuk. There was a lot of noise in there. She corrected me. There are two in the beginning and the end. And the up-and-comer who they were preparing was Khalil Roundtree. All that guy with all that muscle. It was a great fight. It was this guy, they can never. Huck the Lombard, your body can't, as a guy who had a lot of muscle, I said, I'll keep it if I can keep it when I do cardio. I have come to a conclusion with my jiu-jitsu. 2 gold medals and not. Yeah, forget about that. I've come to a conclusion that if I'm not going to get serious about cardio, I might as well not do jiu-jitsu, right? Why do it? That's like not doing the drill or not doing the warm-up or coming halfway through. Carl Gotch, who I interviewed for the fight book, would not even train you until you went on a 3-month fitness regime. You didn't like it? Take it on the arches. Fuck you. Tony Cicchini, or however you pronounce his name, went through him and he had him doing, he's like, after 2 weeks, he goes, what the fuck am I doing? I'm leaving. Go, good, leave. Without the skill set to do this stuff, you don't have the skill set to do this stuff. You can't half-ass it. You got all that muscle, do the cardio. No way. Oh, I've never been out of the first round. Plan for it. Polish guy kicked your ass. It was a decision. 3 rounds. And now we're on the Fox Sports 1 card, whereas I'm watching commercial. And let me tell you something. When you see that commercial for FIFA, and you see it several times, that's not a good sign. I don't know those of you who know how the industry works, but it's not a good sign. If you're watching 4 hours of TV and you see no repeat commercials, that's a good sign. That means everybody paid a premium to get in. If you see one commercial several times, that means they got a break because they had to have something that time. Give us 3 placements. How about 3 placements for the price of 2? Okay. Miles Jury, Rick Glenn. Yeah, Miles Jury is great. I really like that guy. But a unanimous decision. Okay, Akhmedov and Vittori, I agree with the majority draw. It would have been painful otherwise. Vittori is like the Italian Eric Silva. He's hoping to use some will to get through, but he was essentially schooled the first couple of rounds, but it still went all 3 rounds. This is not a growth delta fight. This is not for the casuals or casual cash. This was for us, and we say, is that right? Smoker, fucking Lost Battalion, baby. I don't know that he's thinking it, but if he did anything other than say, I retire, he needs to say, I retire. And then Tim Elliott versus Mark De La Rosa, I'd pick Tim Elliott to win. And I did actually pick Smoker, so sorry, gicked. I got fucked there. I had no picks on Akhmedov. I picked Miles Jury, so that worked out for me. I picked Roundtree. That didn't work out for me. I picked usually I pick the Polish Princess, but I didn't not this time. I picked Condit. That fucked me. I picked Esparza, and I picked DeCasey. That fucked me. And I picked Khabib, so that worked. And I picked Cyborg, and that was predictable. So even if I beat John Nash in this, I haven't had a chance to watch the Care Don't Care preview. But even if I beat him on it, I'm not taking credit for this. I don't know what it's going to take to fix the sport. But it seems like what is that line from Enter the Dragon? You have disgraced me and you have disgraced the Shaolin Temple. It seems to me like beyond the shadow of a doubt. Fundamentally, what I realized at a certain point about the Nazis is that they were cheap hustlers at base level, cheap hustlers. Do you know what I mean? These guys were grifters. They were con men. They were like small time crooks, dirty uniforms. They talked about getting into some of the Reichstag, and the buildings looked nice outside, like any con man. Nice front. Inside, places were kind of shabby, run down. Have you been to Nuremberg? All the stuff that looks so great. Leni Riefenstahl was fantastic. Because if you go to the parade grounds at Nuremberg today, as I have been, and you stand where Hitler stood, it's just a soccer field, man. All show. How reckless can you get? Like that Harvard, like I talked about on the last If the Shoes Fit. There's that Harvard Hoover fellow at Stanford who wrote a book, a cost benefit analysis of World War II and how the Nazis actually could have won. So there's been no history in the history where a smaller country has beaten a larger country unless they can. Well, first of all, unless you can capture a capital, you're not going to defeat a country. And it was just impossibility from the resource level. And somebody said, well, what about Vietnam? I go, that wasn't really a fully declared war. We were sending advisors in. We weren't bringing the full weight and measure, and it was a proxy war. And it wasn't like the Vietnamese were gonna occupy. They may have won that war, won those battles, but they didn't win the war. It was like they were gonna occupy D.C. Okay. He said if they could just have held off attacking the U.S. and attacking Russia, but that's something that anybody with an 8th grade education could have figured out. I don't know how this guy got big money to write this book, Hoover Fellow or not Hoover Fellow. The thing is, do not be a cheap hustler. This is the time when that vision thing counts. Seeing beyond. That's when it counts. You're stuck. I always make a joke about Hillary. Like, she's a girl from junior high school. Where you say, your shoes are ugly. She goes, my shoes are not ugly. How could my shoes be ugly? You look at them. My mother spent a lot of time and I clean. You go, yeah, well, your pants are ugly. How could my pants be ugly? You're stuck in the weeds. People start to do that nickel and dime shit to me when I was in the elementary school. I would just cut right to it. How about I punch you in your mouth? How about I punch you in your fucking mouth? Who is that? Depeche Mode? So it comes from the barrel of a gun. Let's just get right to it. The bald one is still fighting the weeds fight. How do I give? He doesn't move the needle. You got a man. Oh man. I mean, honest to God, I think that you have a better chance it's like the line from Hamlet. What would he have either motive for Q and passion that I have? What would he have either motive for Q for passion that he's talking about the players? Is it not monstrous that these players here should put in the fiction in a dream of passion, force their souls so to his own conceit that for what? That from all his visions, one, he should drown the stage in tears. What care he for Hecuba or Hecuba for him that he should so weep for? What would he had either motive and cue for passion that I have? Scott Coker sitting there going, if I had what the UFC has at its disposal, I could make this the #1 sport in the world. People respond well to being treated nicely. These guys, like the guy, like Bambosa, who just said, well, of course, burned every single possible bridge behind him by telling the exact fucking truth is, you're treating us like shit. We're sacrificing a lot to be here, and you're treating us like garbage. And if that's not true, who are the fighters who saying it's not true? Nobody. The wind whistles quietly through empty hallways. As it does, my friends, at the conclusion of Knuckle Up number 251. Do not weep. Do not weep. Things change. Patreon.com/the Stomper. The Stomper. TheStomper. I don't know if you can go less than $1, but whatever. Give 50 cents, give 20 cents, give a dime. There's a certain point at which Oxbow, people call, oh, we want you to play a benefit. I go, great, how much you pay? Well, it's a benefit. You got to understand, it ceases being beneficial to me when I have to load 2,000 pounds of gear into a van, which of course I never do. I just stand around and make believe I'm doing it while the rest of the band does it, but you know what I mean. We want you to, we can't afford to pay. That's not the right answer. What can you afford to pay? Now we're negotiating a nickel. You don't know I won't take a nickel. I'm the guy stopping in front of you on the sidewalk, bending down to pick up a penny. I do that. Find a penny, pick it up, and all day you'll have good luck. So this is a 10-year chapter, concluding at the end of 2017. Knuckle Up, that began at the beck and call of Scott Kelly from Neurosis, and now ends. I was gonna have guests come in, but instead, I told you, I needed to do what I did on this show. We'll have guests come in for the kickoff of the Show Stomper. I got a couple people who are expressing discontent with their place in line. The fighters, professional fighters, they're coming to the studio. But just doing it on New Year's Eve was too tough. Now it's 8:30 back east. Those of you overseas are already partying. You know what we call this? And St. Patrick's Day, we call this amateur night. Go out, have fun, be careful. If you're still out at 4 in the morning and you're not someplace where you have your pants off, realize that nothing good happens after 4 in the morning. Tap out, tuck it in, go home, you're done. You're done. Wait, get some sleep, run away to come back another day. See you training on Tuesday. But in any case, the Patreon show, if you want to know how the patreon.com/the Stomper show is going to be different, it actually won't be any different at all. Except I'm not going to, if in the end, toward the end of Knuckle Up, you realize that I was only doing fights that I thought were worthwhile, right? Like if it was a UFC fight night in Fresno, with some skank things on the card, I'm not going to cover that. Patreon.com/the Stomper, I would have done a show anyway because I always got stuff to talk about. I'm not competing now against an Ariel Helwani. I'm not competing now at all. I'm doing the expansive, futuristic 2020 thing. I'm on that Joe Rogan shit, Mark Maron shit. And I'd be honored to have you continue on that journey with me. I might bring back the car shows. You never know. You never know. I want to have more guests. I want to have some porn people in because I can't talk to them in any other journalistic form in a way that comes close to being the way I'd really like to be frank about it. So 2018 could be a good year for the Stomper. Stomper, usually what are you going to be stomping? The heads of people who deem themselves competition. And so next time, and maybe this will even be the first week of January next Sunday, I got to work out the tech kinks. I'm going to give it a try. You know me. Maybe next Sunday we'll try it. The difference is you're going to have to pay attention because it won't be pimped out through Bloody Elbow. So if you want at Eugene S. Robinson, I'll tweet out the shows when they're happening. If you don't want to do Twitter, and you're not on Facebook, I'll send an Instagram notice out. Maybe I'll start a Facebook page for the Show Stomper. Yeah, I think I'll definitely do that. And it's on YouTube. Somebody needs to help me figure out how to get it on iTunes. I don't know how to do this. I guess I could ask Kid Nate. He'd help me. So anyway, my friends, like I said, this is a show that seemingly never ends. This one has. This version has. And those of you who sent me presents over the years, from the toilet paper to the cash to the music to the shirts to the books, I thank you for sticking. I hope that you stick to the Eugene S. Robinson Show Stomper. And again, never say never. There's a possibility that I don't like Patreon. After 6 months of Patreon, I decided, fuck it. What I really want is just to go back. But you know what would be contingent on me going back? The bald one getting his head screwed on straight, which I don't think is going to happen. I think like Deus Ex Machina, somebody's going to have to come from the outside and go, order. But anyway, I've gone over time. I've gone about 6 minutes over time. Hope you don't mind. We'll see you next week on patreon.com/the Stomper, God willing. And I said it's New Year's Eve. Go out. Do not fucking hurt yourselves. And we'll see you soon. Look what you made me do!